Over the past few years, I've tried a lot of different ways of making passive income. In fact, I've been a little bit obsessed with it. I've tried everything from selling ebooks to selling courses, buying a rental property, to starting a membership site. Now, there are two things I can tell you about this whole experience. First of all, I learned a lot. And second of all, some of these ways that you can make passive income pay way more money than other ones. So today, I just wanted to sit down and have a little chat with you guys about each of these different types of passive income, how hard they were, how much money I made from them, and whether or not I'd really recommend them to you. And we're going to start off with my book. So let's work our way from the thing that has made me the least amount of money all the way to the thing that has made me the most money. And as you'll see as we go through these different types of passive income, it's not all about the money because some of them were way easier than others were. Some of them had some extra kind of bonus benefits and others had some pretty substantial challenges. But I just wanted to organize this some way, so that's how we're gonna do it. So the thing that made me the least money was writing and publishing my paperback book. So I wrote this book right about 3 years ago and it's called Sorted Freedom Through Structure. And when I wrote this book, I took just over 1 month to actually write the whole first draft. And yes, that's a little faster than people normally write books, but I don't do very well with long-term projects, so I knew that I just wanted to kind of get it out of me. Once I had finished writing the book, then we got to the hard work, and that was all of the editing and formatting to actually get it published. And that whole part of the process took about 4 months. So total time investment to get this book out into the world was 5 months. At that point, I self-published the book and I launched it myself, and now it's for sale on Amazon. When I did that initial launch, the book earned me right around $1,000, and then ever since then, it's been earning me somewhere between $50 and $100 a month. So in my opinion, that's not very much money. The book earns me about $5 per copy that I sell. So obviously I could do more work to sell more copies of the book. But as you'll see later on in this video, I found some other methods of earning passive income that are a little bit more effective. And by a little bit, I mean a lot. So that's why I don't focus on promoting the book. It's also not directly related to most of the other things that my business does, or really the focus of my business. So this was more like a passion project, and it's something that I'm really glad that I did because it did have some bonus benefits. Things like it really lent a lot more credibility to my brand, and honestly, it gave me expert status in the field that this book relates to. It's amazing how much credibility and authority people give to authors. And if you're interested in growing your credibility in a certain field, then writing a book can be a great way to accomplish that. Now, obviously, writing the book had a few challenges that went along with it. First of all, the profit per unit sold is really low, only $5 per unit. And then second, there are millions and millions of books out there in the world, and so it can be really tough to stand out from the competition and get anyone to pay attention to your book. Okay, so then let's move on and talk about the next way that I created passive income, and that is with the ebook version of that same book that I just showed you. Now, I've actually published a few different ebooks. The ebook of Sorted, I published on Amazon at the same time that I published the paperback, and then I've published quite a few other ebooks on my own website. And obviously, being on Amazon allows you to take advantage of the fact that there's already millions of people on the platform buying things, so you can get a little bit of free exposure, or at least exposure that's easier to get, whereas on your website, you normally have to take care of driving all the traffic yourself. Now, interestingly, the ebook actually earns me almost exactly the same amount of money per unit as the paperback does. The paperback sells for about $15 and about 5 of those are my profit. The ebook sells for $7 to $10 and $5 or $6 are my profit. So the margins are different, but my profit is about the same. Now, one thing you might be wondering or thinking is whether or not my experience is normal. Like, do most people make as many book sales as I make? Or you might be thinking that some people surely make way more book sales than I do. And I think that the truth is that my book has done better than many, many people's books have done. In fact, I would say that my book has done better than average. But there certainly are plenty of authors that have done way, way, way better than me. However, that is a select few. Not to say that you can't become one of those authors, especially if you do make it your main focus, but it's certainly a small percentage of authors that really make a substantial amount of money. So coming back to the ebook version of Sorted on Amazon also sells around 50 to 100 copies per month. And again, I'd say that that experience is better than average, especially considering all the competition that's out there, but still not very good. Now, the ebook certainly did have quite a few advantages. Now, first of all, I was able to write this paperback and the ebook at the same time, obviously. So I was able to create two different streams of passive revenue. Also, because the ebook doesn't have any ongoing production costs, you can very easily give away copies of the ebook, which can be a great way for you to increase exposure and grow your brand. One of the biggest challenges with the ebook is that ebooks tend to have a minimal perceived value, and that just means that people don't perceive them to have a very high value. So it's tough to charge high prices for the ebook, and if you don't charge a very high price, then it can make the paperback version look like it's not very valuable either. Okay, so now let's move on to something that's completely different. Rentals. I'm talking about investment properties here where you buy a house and you rent it out. So a few years ago, we bought our first investment property, and the biggest challenge there was probably just in saving the down payment and then finding a place that was actually a good deal. Now, because of the particular time in the market when we bought, it didn't actually take us that long to find the place, probably about 2 months with the help of a realtor. And then once we found the place, it took another 2 months or so to actually close on the property. Beyond that, as far as our time investment went, it would take about 5 to 10 hours per month to maintain the property. As far as profits went, our monthly rental income was $2,500. So that means the tenants paid us $2,500. $2,000 of that was our expenses. That included the mortgage and the utilities and the maintenance. That meant that every single month we had $500 in cash profits, but in addition to that, we also were building equity because a significant amount of our expense was actually the mortgage payment. So we were essentially saving money in the property so that later on when we sold the property, we would recoup our investment. And then finally, beyond that, we were also growing our investment every single month as the house's value increased. I have another video where I explain this entire story in a lot more detail. I'll be sure to link it down below, but I get into the numbers, how much we bought the property for, how much we later sold it for, and a few hiccups that we experienced along the way. Okay, now let's get back into the digital realm again and talk about courses. Now, courses have become very popular over the last few years, and by that I mean it's both become popular for people to take online courses and for them to create online courses. And of course, that means that there is now a fair amount of competition. However, when you consider the number of courses that are for sale compared to the number of books or blogs or YouTube videos, you'll feel like there is almost no competition at all in the course world. And indeed, I would say that this is an industry that really is still in its infancy, and there's a lot of opportunity left there. Over the past 3 years, I've created about 10 courses myself, and each of these courses took me somewhere between 1 and 4 months to create. Now, during the first year when I was creating and trying to sell my courses, I don't think I made a single dollar. In fact, I'm sure that I lost some money because I had expenses related to learning how to make and sell courses and also different software tools that I was using to help me out. However, after a year of practice and focusing in on building my audience, I started to see some success and start to generate those sales. After that first year, my sales pretty quickly climbed to about $1,000 per month, and ever since then, we've been optimizing our sales process and continuing to grow my audience, and so now we're generating between $5,000 and $10,000 consistently. One of the big bonus benefits of creating online courses is that they can be a much more effective way to actually deliver results to the students. People have a tendency of reading a book and thinking, wow, that's a lot of great ideas, and then never actually taking action on it. But when they've spent more money on a course and the information that they're consuming is multimedia, so they can actually see and hear exactly what they should do, they're much more likely to take action and actually create results for themselves. Now, obviously, creating courses has generated a lot more money for me than writing and publishing a book did. However, that's not to say that there aren't some big challenges related to successfully profiting from selling courses online. There are 2 challenges that really stand out to me as the biggest. The first one is that creating the courses and creating the funnels that sell the courses is quite time consuming, it's quite energy intensive, and it can be a little bit complicated. And then the second really big challenge is that you have to take a lot of time and energy to build up your audience so that there are people there for you to turn into customers. As I say all the time, nobody will buy your product if they don't know it exists. Now, there are certainly some shortcuts that you can take there. If you have some money to invest, then you can spend that money on advertising so that you can grow your audience a lot more quickly. Personally, I ended up getting down in the trenches and doing it the hard way myself. I spent my time and my energy building my audience because I just didn't have any money to invest. One of the biggest differences between selling books to create passive income and selling courses is when you get paid. With the book, first you do a bunch of work, then you get paid a pretty significant amount, but then after that, the continual monthly income can be pretty minimal. With the courses, on the other hand, first you have to do a lot of work, and I would say a little bit more work really than writing and publishing the book was, but then after that, you don't get paid very much at all until you take the time to also really grow your audience and get that exposure that you need. And over time, you can steadily increase your income every single month, especially if you also work on optimizing your sales systems. Now, the final type of product that I sell to create passive income is the one that does make me the most money every single month. However, I would say it also has some of the biggest challenges. So keep on listening because I want you to know both the good and the bad. First of all, what is the product? Well, it's my membership site. Now, as you probably know, I run an online program called Startup Society, and it's a membership program for motivated online entrepreneurs, people who are building their businesses online. That's what my membership site is about, but there's plenty of other people who have membership sites all about all sorts of different things that help their members out in all sorts of different ways. So with my membership site, I personally spent about 4 months building it before it was ready to welcome new members in. However, I have to say that there was some more time that went into building it because not only did I have to do that initial build that took about 4 months, but also after that, I had to continue to create content to put into the membership site to keep the members coming back for more. And just like with the courses, I couldn't successfully launch it publicly until I had enough visibility that I would be able to get enough people to sign up for it. With the courses, I started trying to sell them right away, and I just didn't make any sales until my audience had grown. On the other hand, with the membership site, I was building it and I was waiting for my audience to get big enough before I finally launched it. When I did finally launch my site, I had a bit less than 100,000 YouTube subscribers. I think that I was at about 75 or 80,000. At that point, I launched the site and 300 amazing entrepreneurs decided to join the program. And that created a stream of about $10,000 per month for my business. Now, ever since then, we've continued to improve the program, create new and increasingly better quality content to help the members get even better results in their own businesses. And I even invested about $6,500 into having a professional web development team build a brand new site for the members so that, again, they could have the best experience they possibly could have. At this point, Startup Society generates around $20,000 per month in profit. And we really expect to see that continue to increase at a great rate over the next few years. One of the unique advantages that a membership site has is that the monthly income can be a lot steadier than with some other types of passive income. For example, with my book sales, sometimes they go up or down seemingly randomly, and it certainly is dependent on how much I promote the book itself. Or on the other hand, with the rental property, the monthly gross income is very stable, unless you lose a tenant, of course, but you can have unexpected big expenses really crop up. With the membership site, on the other hand, it tends to be very steady from one month to the next, although it does decrease month after month after month. Most membership sites lose between 10 and 20% of their members every single month if they aren't continually enrolling new members. And then finally, let's just talk about some of the challenges related to running the membership site. And there are 3 that come to my mind. The first is keeping up with those subscribers that you are continually losing. So you have to continually promote the program to keep your numbers up and continue to grow. The second challenge is when you're first starting it, it can be tough to get a big enough group of people to join initially if you don't already have a big audience. And so for that reason, you either need to wait until you've grown your audience to a significant enough size, or else you need to be able and willing to start very small and to add just 1 one member at a time. And then the final challenge is something that I already touched on, and that's just that you typically have to continue to create content for your membership site month after month after month. And if the content isn't good enough or substantial enough, then you'll start to see your members leave more quickly. So after hearing about my experience with each of these different ways to earn passive income, I'm really curious to know which one you think is the best. Because after all, some of them took a lot more time and energy, and others made a lot more money. And also, as I explained, some of them created income a lot more quickly, but others created more income long term. So leave me a comment down below and tell me what you think. Which one sounds like the best opportunity to you? Are you gonna try any of them out? Personally, I'm really glad that I tried every single one of these opportunities. Not only did I learn a lot through the process, but they all actually paid me really well. Even if they didn't create me thousands of dollars of profit every month, like this book sure didn't, they still added a lot to my life and to my business, and they helped me grow in so many different ways. Well, as always, thanks so much for joining me today. And if you want to make sure that you don't miss next week's video, then click that red subscribe button down below, because I make 2 videos every single week all about entrepreneurship, success, and personal development. Hope you guys have an amazing week, and I'll see you next time.